Democratic Secretary of State Jena Griswold runs Colorado's elections. Recently, she made a splash on a national political issue, calling for a boycott of the state of Alabama over its new abortion ban. But first, Griswold asked Planned Parenthood's political director to edit her office's official statement. Here's what our Marshall Zellinger has learned.
2 hours before Democratic Secretary of State Jena Griswold sent her Boycott Alabama news release, her communications director emailed a slightly different draft news release to Planned Parenthood of the Rocky Mountains. Draft of what we are thinking attached. Let me know thoughts, edits. If you could turn around as quickly as possible, that would be great because Secretary of State wants to move fast.
I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it's ethical. I think it's wrong.
Suzanne Steyer, the former Deputy Secretary of State under Republican Wayne Williams, first discovered the email through an open records request for emails about the Boycott Alabama announcement.
Whether you agree with Planned Parenthood's platform or not, I think we can all agree that we shouldn't have our policies in the state dictated to us by special interest groups and lobbying organizations.
We asked Griswold about partisan politics before she was even elected.
You worked as a partisan attorney in elections, but the job of the Secretary of State is to run an election without partisanship. So is it an issue that you've never done that before?
You're 100% right. I am not a partisan politician.
Through an additional open records request today, we got the actual edits provided by Planned Parenthood. What you're looking at is the original draft news release that referenced a woman's right to choose. Whitney Phillips, the vice president of communications for Planned Parenthood, wrote, "We don't recommend using right to choose, pro-life, pro-choice language anymore. All polling indicates it is further polarizing and turns folks off." The other edit asks if a specific line is necessary. Both suggestions were taken. The final release changed right to choose to right to reproductive health care, and that other sentence was removed. For Next, I'm Marshall Zellinger.
We asked Secretary of State Griswold for an interview. Her office provided a statement saying that she, quote, consulted with Planned Parenthood about the decision as they are one of the largest providers of and leading experts on women's health care. As for the boycott, they said, quote, we should not use Colorado state resources in a state that restricts women's basic constitutional rights in this way. Coloradans should have a special kind of faith in our Secretary of State, the person who runs our elections. A special kind of faith that whether that Secretary of State is a Republican or a Democrat, that they are above politics, because you have to trust them to protect the voting system. Jena Griswold has not been in office 6 months before she broke that faith by giving an outside group's political director the power to edit an official statement from her office. Now, this is not about her personal political views, and it's not about yours. I mean, imagine if Colorado's last Secretary of State, a Republican, was inserting himself into America's debate over guns and issuing statements that were edited for him by the NRA. Coloradans would have been outraged about that, and rightly so. We must have that special kind of faith that our Secretary of State will be fair and impartial in elections and on contentious ballot issues. Secretary of State Jena Griswold's actions have broken faith with Colorado.
Subscribe to the Next YouTube channel for the best of Next and some other stuff.